I'm back here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and see if we can figure out, what's going on. But a crazy market out there, right? I mean, I was kind of curious. Pretty saturated too. Over here, total created cryptocurrencies in the world, 37 million, right? And most of them have failed and are no longer inactive. Right up here, it tells you that. Coin Market Cap tracks over 9,500. CoinGecko tracks 19,400. And CryptoRank tracks approximately 34,000 different coins, right? So it kind of makes you wonder, you know, is it so saturated that an alt season, would be weak? You know what I'm saying? The only thing that makes me question that is Bitcoin dominance. It hasn't fallen, right? I mean, we come in here and look at this. It has not fallen, not compared to over here in 2021. Okay, where we had this big massive fall here, where it just totally tanked. Over here in 2017, this one here, unbelievable. This one would have been awesome to be in. I was in this one here. Totally different atmosphere, totally different thing going on right now. When we had these, you're gonna have to accept that Bitcoin has topped, right? That it is done. That's one thing, and we're gonna have to hope that Bitcoin makes a correction here to get that alt season. I put this out earlier over in Discord. Looked like Bitcoin, when I put this out, price was up in here somewhere. This is an hourly chart. Ended up doing this 5 wave down. We got that move. The target, how we got that target was taking the fib right off of here, pulling it down, and it hit it absolutely perfect. This Fibonacci, man, if you're not using a fib, you're missing out. Okay, I mean, look at this. It nailed it exactly down there. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching that. I was in a 1,000 rats trade, taking a short on it, and I think I was up about 150% on that. I ended up jumping out of that. It came back up, so I got out and had a little bit of profit on that. If you want to join our Discord, guys, that's a level 3 membership in the description of the video. No matter what, it doesn't matter if we're heading into a bear market. There's always stuff to trade. You can do that every single day in a bear market, bull market, whatever. Okay, there's always stuff running. I never stop trading, right? I mean, in the bull run, you get a lot of more strong moves to the upside and downside, obviously. But right through the bear market, you can trade everything, right? It doesn't change. It isn't like traders say, "Oh well, bear market is here. I'm done." That's for people that buy and hold and sell. Try to sell at the top and get out. That's for holders, right? Day traders and stuff like that. We never stop trading, right? I mean, that's how it goes. Over there this week, had about a 50% win rate. Had a couple there that were pretty crappy, but the last couple weeks before that, we did totally incredible, right? So we'll see what happens here. Let's take a look at this Bitcoin chart. Oh, and also, if you're interested in signing up for this level 3 membership, go over here. I have a link for Weeks, and I have a link for Bitunix. There's a ton of rewards here on Weeks. You have link your phone number and email to get a $10 to $100 coupon. I did that. You get your coupon right away. Get 15 position airdrop instantly on your first app login. Follow us on social media. Get $15. Invite friends and earn up to $50. Your invitee will also receive a $10 bonus. Right, so you can claim $50 when your 2 invitees each make a deposit of $100 and reach a trading volume of $1,000. That's easy. You guys out there that leverage trade, you can hit 50 grand in one day easily. Over here, your futures deposit. If you deposit $100 and hold it for 3 consecutive days, right? you get a what is it, a $100 airdrop. On trading, once you hit $10,000, you get a $5 coupon. $100,000, you get a $15 coupon. Once you hit 500,000, and you guys out there, man, I've done 6 million in a month. It's not that difficult. $75. Once you hit a million, $150. 5 million, you get $600. And if you go above that, and you can hit that. That sounds like a lot, but when you're leverage trading, it's really not. If you hit 10 million, $1,200 bonus. And if you go up to 30, you can get $2,250 bonus in your account. Okay, and these, you get these instantly once you hit your. So if you use the link in the description of the video, I would very much appreciate it, guys. Definitely helps me out. I don't make a lot of money making these YouTube videos, but the referrals definitely help. So that's over on Weeks. And then BitTuneX, they also have a bunch of sign-up bonuses. You can go over there. Task number 1, invite a friend. If a friend deposits $100 and completes their first futures trade within 7 days, they get $20 and I get $20. All right, and if you and it says up to a $500 mystery box on there. Task number 2: if friends deposit $100 and reach 10,000 in trading volume within 7 days, you get an extra $10 and I get $10. So that's pretty cool, right? You hit $1,000 worth of trading, they drop you $20. 30 altogether if you hit 10,000 in volume, and that's easy. That's not hard to do. All right, so I have a link in the description of the video. I'd appreciate it if you hit that and use that. I think I've had like 30 people sign up for BitTuneX or something. I like BitTuneX. I like Weeks too. I like both of them. That's why I put both of them in my videos. I like both of them exchanges. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Let's get this off here. This might be pulling back for, you might get a 1, 2, and then a bust up through here. This thing might take off, right? We're hoping we get a bounce back up. Now we had that 89,000 down there. What did it go down to? It went down to, right exactly. That worked out perfect. Now you can see we have broken this major trend line, right? Not good news. We've talked about the bearish divergence forever on here. Let's pull it up. That's on the regular RSI. We've looked at that a bunch of times before. There it is. Right through here. We've pulled this up on Bitcoin before. If we you've had this high here, a lower high, and then a lower high, right? I mean, we've showed this numerous times, the bearish divergence here. You also had your 5 waves up here that we talked about. And not a bad thing, right? I mean, hey, man, if we've been in a bear market for a little bit and getting it started, whatever. That's the way it goes, right? But we want to see an alt season. You had your 5 waves up. You went over your 1618. You're going to have a lot of people out there. Everybody's got their own opinion, right? You went over the 1618 extension here, on the fib, and you broke a major trend. Monthly RSI bearish, weekly bearish, is getting near the bottom here, right? So what we're hoping for, hopefully we get a big ABC in here, right? And that we get this alt season going. Let's get a little bit of this cleaned up here. I'd like to see a big ABC come in here. Maybe Bitcoin drops some more. Let's put a fib on here. Let me show you what I'm maybe talking about here. It would have to come back up to a 618 though. I don't know. I don't know. What I'm thinking of, what I'm talking about is something like this, right? We get this A wave down, B wave back up to a 618. and then a C down. Maybe something, who knows? I don't know. Nobody really does. Maybe Bitcoin pulls down some more, flushes some more people out of the market, and then on this B wave back up, we start the alt season, and the C wave down. Stuff starts finishing off. I don't know, guys. It makes you really wonder, because this dominance, it's going to have to drop at some time, right? Okay, over here, let's go through this. Right, alt season, bear market. Bitcoin starts chugging back up, right? Chugging back up. Alt season, poof. Bear market, right? Starts chugging back up, chugging back up. Should have an alt season. Bitcoin chugging back up, chugging back up. Alt season. It makes you wonder. The saturation thing, I would believe that if dominance dropped, if it was crashing down. But it's not. The monthly RSI right down at the bottom. I can't see dominance going higher, right? Dominance back over here was like 90, 98, 99% in Bitcoin back through there, okay? Back through the old days. Up here, 98, 99%. It was mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum. Then you had XRP and Cardano and Dogecoin come in this area, Solana, Avalanche, your other projects come in, and Bitcoin dominance went up to 73% max right there, right during the bear market. Now over here, right, we're up to 65%. It went up to roughly. Right, it's 65, 66. I cannot see it going higher. That wouldn't make sense, right? I want to see this dominance absolutely smash down. On the weekly, look at that. It's right at the very top, right? So, looking for a drop here, hopefully. Over here, the weekly, when we had our alt season, the weekly RSI was at the top, similar, right? And then here's where it had to drop. We're right back at the top over here again. Same territory. Where was the monthly at that time? Look, the monthly was actually, look at this. Okay, monthly. The monthly actually came up a little bit and then rolled over. All right. So it's at the bottom over here. It was up about halfway over here when the alt season started before. I don't know. We'll have to see, right? 2017, you had your monthly right near the bottom over here, right? Look. That's during the alt season. During. It was at the bottom. During. And then it was still in an alt season at the bottom. Then it started up a little bit. And the alt season was still... it had just run up here and then a big crash down. That's where the alt season finished. Right there. 2021. A little run up and a roll over. So, a little run up and a roll over. Is that's what's going to happen here? Do we have to wait out just a couple more months? Does Bitcoin have to pull down some more like I showed over here and then run up for an ABC? Right over here. Does this take a couple more months before this alt season comes in? Possible, right? I mean, it is. No question about it. I don't know. We'll see. The weekly on Bitcoin down at the bottom, just about, but the monthly looks really, really, crappy, right? But do we get that ABC and finish up? I don't see Bitcoin really heading down to 30. You never know, right? Me personally, I would think it would probably, even over here, back here. It never came back below that. Below this close right here on the peak. It'd be 60,000. Very possible it pulls back to 60 and holds. It definitely could do that, right? I mean, this ABC would be higher then. We come in higher up here. Right through 61. I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? So we're hoping for that alt season. Obviously, we're gonna have to see what Bitcoin does here. It has broken down from that trend line. Let's get this off here. So does it run down a little bit more? You know, right now, over on a daily, we're right at the very bottom here, okay? And if we come in here and look at this thing, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you got 5 waves down. Maybe the B wave runs up here, it runs back up in for a B, and then the C comes down. You know, what would that look like? Let's see. Right, say it comes back up for a B from here. Say it stops there, comes back up for a B. Let's take a look. Okay, well, the B would be right, what, 111. So pull it down to that range roughly. And put it at 70, right down around 75. Possible, got pretty good support down there, right? Get down through here. On the weekly. 75, you know, maybe drop a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see what happens here, guys. You know, and nobody knows. Like I said, nobody knows for sure. I'd love to see a run back up for here and an ABC correction here for this alt season to get going. Let's go over here and take a look. You know, I'd like, for instance, let's take a look at Solana or Litecoin. Litecoin, that's a good one to look at. Okay, let's open this up. See what's going on in here, right? Pretty ugly, really. It's going on monthly. I mean, Litecoin's been doing pretty decent. Wow, that was a long. That was pretty awesome. So we got in that pretty good here. 95 up to 129. That worked out pretty decent here. Let's get this off here. That was a good long. I remember that. And over in Discord, we got some wicks coming down through here. You know, is this pull down here? Rather leave it up there. I think that's more consistent, right, with everything. We're out on a monthly chart here. You know, this was 2021 over here. If we pull this fib over here, you know, Litecoin hasn't done anything. Look at that. Nothing. You'd expect at least a run back up here to 618, up to 272, right? It's done absolutely nothing in here. Let's get that off there. And that's one of your, you know, sturdier tokens. Here's your retracement. Here it did a 236. That's all it did there through the bear market, I guess. You had your Altseason. It was up over here, came down. Bear market, a little bit of a retracement, rolled over. You know, here 2021. You know, Litecoin has just been flat. Monthly RSI rolling over. Is that bearish divergence or not? This one was a little bit higher. The weekly's kind of rolling over too, right? Kind of rolling over there. So we'll have to see what happens. This has definitely been a weird cycle. XRP. Let's take a look at it. You know, some of the look at even the total 3, right? Down 26%. The total 3. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH, right? What's going on in here? Let's get rid of that. You know, it's coming down towards that trend line. Nothing that has broken here. I mean, it's kind of screwed up any kind of wave count though, right? On a weekly. If you had a 1, 2 here, 3, 4, you know, if this line gets taken out, you're going to start worrying. The monthly bearish divergence in here looks like, yeah, at this high and a lower high coming in there, right? And on price, you got a higher high, you know. So we'll see what happens, guys. You have to keep a close eye on this. Absolutely, you know, it hasn't even it hasn't run at all. Look at this total 3. You know, barely set a new all-time high. Should have been coming up into here. You know, so do we have an alt season left in here? We'll see. I think so. Something has to happen with dominance. You know, it's weird. It's totally strange. We've been keeping track of this forever. you know, you would expect a crash in dominance, a crash down, and you know, and a run, right? Looking back over here in 2018, right? You had the total 3 was way down here, you know, and then you had a run. This thing ran up to a 3618, okay, and over in 2021. All right, same. You go off the previous high, you know, gives you your target up here. Had, you know, nothing, just weak, 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 weak. You know, was the wave count down here? And it's in the bear market right here, right? That's a bear market high, really. You know, it shouldn't have counted in here. You know, you have a higher high back here though too. You know, so do we get the bounce here? Does this thing hold this trend line and bounce back up out? I sure hope so, right? But we definitely want to see that. Is this a big shakeout? Is that what's going on here? You got your daily. You got some bullish divergence going on down here in the daily, right? You got this low and a lower low down here. You got this low and a higher low so far. You know, does it hold here and rip back up? You'll be keeping a close eye on it, right? You're going to have to. So, all right, thank you so much, guys. Please hit that like and subscribe. Go over there and sign up for Weeks or Bitfinex. Come trade with us. We trade every day. Bear market, bull market, doesn't matter. Always trade and got to make money. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.